All right, so good morning, everyone. So as you see, I'm Caroline Corneau from the European Commission, and I'm here to talk to you today about the new call for proposals. Just before I launch that, first, thanks a lot to Declan and Maura and everyone in the eInoicing Ireland team and the OGP for having us here today. And before I go into this, I would like to say a little bit who I am. I'm actually a project manager of the CEF eInoicing building block. And to understand what that means, I have to just explain. You've heard about the CEF program, Connecting Europe Facility Program, already this morning. And it's a funding instrument to support the digital transformation in Europe, but we do this in two different ways, and the most important way that I will talk about today is the grants, obviously, funding, but then there is also what we call the building blocks, so how we are organized in different types of projects. It's each time around a standard for eInoicing, obviously the eInoicing standard, and we have a range of supporting services. So it can, not in the case of eInoicing, but we can have sample software. So it's really the idea to get member states started into what they want to do to implement and to be compliant with the standard. So for e-delivery, for example, there is sample software, not so for eInoicing, but then we have a range of supporting services like these workshops. Being there for these workshops, these trainings is why Martin and Georg, who you will hear later on today, is there. And we also have information, like a knowledge base where you can find information about what it means, if you have questions, really what it means being compliant to that particular aspect of the standard. So all of this you can find on CEF Digital that I will show in a minute also. And we also have a support function, a service desk, and you can ask very specific questions. And again, you have experts like Martin and Georg behind this service to answer your questions. So now let's launch into the new call for proposal. So yeah, the bit of context. You've heard it all before. I think this date is going to haunt us for the next month. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the directive today. And the compliance with the standards is obviously the objective. And the context for this call is that, as you've heard also, some countries, member states are still, in their journey, and they are so lagging behind in terms of the implementation of the directive, because, of course, the deadline is for both transposition and implementation. And then there is this 1-year extension for the subcentral level. And then in the call, I will explain in a minute, there is also the aspect of innovative solution and covering the whole e-procurement chain, if you like. So some details about the call itself. It was launched 14th of February this year, and it is open, so you can submit your proposals until the 14th of May. And the indicative budget this year is 6.2 million euro. Last year it was 5 million, and it was actually oversubscribed. So we had more requests than what was possible to cover. And how it works in terms of mechanism, so it is a co-funding rate, so you can have up to 75% of the cost of your projects reimbursed with or funded with the grant. And there is also a pre-financing mechanism up to 50% of the amount in the grant. The indicative duration is 12 months, so you can read, I'll say this a couple of times, you can read all the details of this, how it works in the call text itself, but it's an indicative duration of the 12 months, so you have to start and finish in that period, and it cannot be retroactive also for past projects, obviously. So a couple of criteria. First, on eligibility. So the proposals must come from one or two or more member states bodies together, one at least from the EU or EEA member states. And so you can have consortia built, as we heard also with Cornelis this morning. It can have joint public and private entities. At least one must be from the public sector. And to a certain extent, a third country can also be involved in the call. But as I say, you have the link here to the call text for exact information. Some background information, of course, for the legal framework. So we've heard about the directive. There's a guidance paper for really designed for public administrations how to get started, and then the standard itself, the semantic data model. Now, in terms of objectives, so this year with this call for proposals, there are 3 objectives, and if you are thinking of applying, you will have to say to which, it can be more than one, but which objectives your project focuses on. So the first one, as I said, is the focus on member states that are still in their implementation journey and are lagging behind. So it's really a project that must increase the uptake and the national readiness to accept and process compliant invoices. And of course, within the scope of the directive 2014. The second objective is that, okay, you have a solution already in place, but you need to update it to be compliant with the standard. So this is a second possibility of the focus for your project. And there, of course, comes in the CEF that we've heard this morning, so Core Invoice Usage Specification. This is included also in the call. The third objective, as I say, they're not mutually exclusive, is really to foster innovation and so innovative solutions that encompass more than just e-invoicing, but are on more than, so in general, e-procurement functionalities. So you have improving digitalized processes, improve automation. So here, these are some examples of what we mean here by innovative. So these were the 3 objectives. Now, to explain a little bit how the process run, by the way, it is run by the agency. It's called INEA, who is in charge really of handling receiving the proposals and examining them. And so these are the criteria that they will use to award scores and analyze the proposals. So again, three criteria here: relevance, quality and efficiency, and then impact and sustainability. And below you have some explanations on how this is scored exactly and the thresholds that are applied in the analysis. Now, the first objective is relevance. So obviously it means that the projects help public administrations comply with the directive and facilitate the adoption of the standard. And again, this focus on the element of getting all member states ready even after the deadline, as you see, this call is for this year, 2019. The second one is on the quality and efficiency of the proposal. So, of course, the solution that is proposed in the project must be mature, must be coherent, effective, and there will be also an element of analysis of really analyzing the quality of the consortium that is being built within this proposal and the project. And the third criteria have to do with impact and sustainability. So it's really ensuring the long-term approach to this project, that it can live on after the duration of the grant. So targeted, of course, towards the sustainability of the solution. Here on this page, so this was a very short overview, but you can find all the information that you want on the INEA website, how to apply. So there are also guidelines how to build, how to write your proposal, and then there is the call text that is really the basis, is what to follow, exactly those criteria, those eligibility criteria, exclusion criteria, and then the selection awarding criteria. And as I said at the beginning, so this is the funding, this is the main part of what the CEF program does, but then in addition to that, we have the building block, the services that you find on CEF Digital. So here, what I did not mention was the country fact sheet. So every year we have an update to really the situation in each member state in terms of legislation, the compliance with the standard, the solutions in place, and every member state's approach to invoicing. So this is a couple of pointers for your interest in this general scope. And I finish here with the information on where to find us. Thank you.